Okay, so today in our office hour, we are going to talk about your portfolio teacher rosters. I'm going to take you through how to verify that they are correct, how to check the platform to make sure all of your portfolio teachers are there and that they have access, how to fill out our add and remove template this year. If you do see teachers that were left off, or if you have teachers that need to be removed, I'll talk you through how to take care of that. And then we'll go through our next steps and the support that we have provided. The first thing I want to do is show you there is a link to the portfolio verification um, guidance, and that is also on our team website. I'll show you that in a few slides. But we do have a guidance document this year to walk you through how to verify your rosters are correct. You want to be sure that all of your teachers are in the platform, that you have the correct teachers in the platform, the correct grades that your district or charter has chosen to implement portfolios, that they're all there. It's critical that you take care of reviewing your rosters, that you have checked the platform, the user directory, make all of your corrections by February the 2nd. February the 2nd will be the last day we can add teachers to the platform. And then that will give you the next week to make sure they were all put in and that your rosters are correct. And the deadline to verify that your roster is correct in the platform is February the 9th. The reason we do roster verification is important. It's important for teachers because the only way they have access to the platform is if you have rostered them and submitted their information. Teachers do need this access. For teachers, the portfolio is as critical as the TCAP test for your grades 3 through 8. This is 35% of their final LOE. So it's critical that they have access, that they can upload their artifacts, and that they can have a complete portfolio by the deadline. So you do want to, as a portfolio lead, make sure you meet your roles and responsibilities to maintain that all of your teachers are there, that they can get in, that they can log in, that they can set up their collections, and that they have that access. And you also want to be sure that you're monitoring their progress. We don't want any teacher to have an incomplete by surprise, nor do we want your district or charter to be surprised. If a teacher does not complete their portfolio by the deadline, they are assigned the score of incomplete. And if there's an incomplete in their portfolio score, they do not generate an LOE. For us as state administrators, we are using the number of teachers that we have in the portfolio to determine how many peer reviewers that we hire. So it's critical that we also have the correct number of teachers that are participating. When you log in as a district administrator in the platform, you want to make sure you have selected the role district administrator. At the top of your screen, and mine is blacked out here, but you have your initials, and here is where you will click to change roles. You may remember at the beginning of the year when I staffed you, I gave you district administrator and the teacher access. Your teacher access will be removed as we get closer to the deadline, but that teacher access is there simply for you to see how teachers see the platform. If you are a teacher who is submitting a portfolio and you're also a district administrator, please shoot us an email at portfolio.questions to make sure we know. Most of the district administrators, I don't want to say all because I'm not sure, but most of you that are district administrators and classroom teachers, we do have that information. But to be safe, make sure I know that you are also submitting so I don't remove your teacher access. On the far left of your screen, you want to click on user directory. On this screen, you can see all of the active teachers, and that means these are the people that are rostered that still have access. Over to the right where it says active, if their circle is green, that means they have an active account. It doesn't necessarily mean that they have logged in this year. It could be that they were a teacher last year and they activate. It means that they activated the account. So it could be they activated it last year or the year before. If they don't have a green at all, if they are still grayed out here, that means they have not logged in and activated their account ever. So you do want to make sure everybody has a green circle, but don't assume if they have a green check that they have begun this year. It just means that this account is active and this teacher has logged in prior to when you look at this page. But after you check your user directory, making sure all of your teachers are there, then you can also go to your report. The report is simply going to show you all of the things that have happened this year with your roster. Some of you have already removed teachers. Some of you have, we've removed and reloaded teachers due to incorrect information. So this report shows you all of the activities that have happened so far this year with your teacher directory. So you want to make sure you can access this report. It's called Teachers. When you click on it, it's going to give you a download. So you want to download this file and look at it. Once you download the file, you will notice there's a column called Was Access Removed? If it has a 1, that means that teacher was removed. And you may see that teacher twice. So it could be you removed Tracy from your roster because you had given me the wrong email, or you had given me the wrong information. So we took you, it was removed, but then you added me back. So the best thing for you to do before you start checking for your roster verification is to go ahead and filter this column Was Access Removed and filter it to just show your zeros. Those are all of the teachers that are active that you see in your user directory on the prior page. But if you want to go back and see why somebody is not there, you would notice that they have a 1. That means we have taken them out. So when you have filtered by Was Access Removed, so this column is now all zeros. Once you look at this report, you want to check, you want to make sure, and here it says 22, 23. You are looking at your 23, 24 year. So you do want to make sure that year is correct. Make sure that their names are spelled correctly. You want to make sure they're at the right schools. But the most important, if anything, is the most important, it is that TLN, that teacher license number, because their portfolio score will be tied to that license number when we upload scores into T-Encompass. So be sure all of these columns are correct. The email is the email that the platform is sending the activation to, is the email that we have communication with them through. So you want to make sure this is the email, that this email is also correct. If the teacher has activated, they will have a 1 here in this column. So if they have activated and they are active in that account, their email is fine. You also want to look at this column that says portfolio models. The teacher's portfolio model will not show up on this report until the teacher has logged in, selected their model, and began their collections. So if you see a teacher, for example, here's a teacher that does not have a model. Here's several teachers in this district who do not have a model selected. They have activated their account, but you can see the 0 means they have, the 0 for activated means they have not. This one, if it has a 1, they activated. So these teachers here, I would be concerned. They haven't activated their account and they have not selected their model yet. Here we have a teacher who has, let's see, here's one who has activated their account. It's that 1 down at the bottom, but they haven't gone past activating their account. They haven't selected models, so they don't have anything in, they don't have their grade level in that column. So this is really important because this could be they are not able to get in or they just haven't gotten in yet. So you want to make sure you contact your teachers that are still blank here and ask them to make sure they can log in and that they can select their model. They don't have to upload work. And at this point in January, It's unlikely that they're ready to upload their point A's and B's, but they all should have selected their models and begun selecting their collections and even know what standard, because everyone should be finished assessing point A. So they should also know what standard they have selected in their portfolio. So you want to check all of this information. And I just explained that this activated 1 means they did activate their account. 0 means they still haven't activated yet. As you're going through and checking to make sure you have the right teachers rostered and just making the decision whether someone needs to be removed, I would like for you to go back and refer to page 11 in your guidebook. Page 11 lists reasons why a teacher may be exempt and not be required to do a portfolio. If you have rostered somebody who is now marked PYE, then you can remove them. If you have rostered a tested teacher, so that could be, one scenario might be if you have rostered a teacher for the fine arts model, but they're also a 5th grade teacher who receives a TCAP score. If they receive a TCAP score for their 35%, if they're a tested teacher in a different area, then they do not receive a portfolio score in addition to a TCAP score. If you have hired substitutes who happen to be licensed, but they're substitutes, or if you have interim teachers, that could be a student teacher, they are not required to be evaluated, nor are they required to submit a portfolio for an LOE. This special education teacher has raised a lot of questions. What it means here for teachers that are exempt, this is a self-contained special ed teacher. This is a teacher who only teaches SPED students. So it's not their license type. It's teachers who teach special ed. So special ed teachers do not submit a portfolio for their 35%. If you have a teacher who teaches in 3 or more schools, they do not submit a portfolio. And anyone who has switched grades, it could be that in the first semester they taught pre-K and now they're teaching kindergarten or 1st grade. If they've switched grades or content, it could be that your district or charter is doing the fine arts portfolio, but the teacher has moved to a different school to teach fine arts somewhere else, or they have switched the grade. They're no longer doing fine arts in the elementary school. Maybe they have moved. They would be exempt because they are not the same students that teacher had all year. This would also qualify them for PYE. So once you check your user directory and you have checked your report, if you see that you do have corrections that need to be made, please download this add remove template. Be sure that you're using this template. It's also available on the team website. If you go to the team website, you can also find this template and you will want to download it, add or remove people. Don't submit your entire roster again. Just submit the people that need to be added or removed, and then get that to us by Friday, February the 2nd. This will be the last day that we can take additions to the platform. And then once you have submitted your adds or your removes, you will see your removes very quickly. It takes usually between 5 and 7 business days for your additions to be uploaded into the platform. But wait until you have rechecked your roster report and that all of these add and removes have taken place before you verify that your roster is correct. When you download the add and remove template, this is what it looks like. You will have a drop down here in this column H where you would put add if you need to, and you be sure to include all of their information here. You can select add and why, and make sure you tell us why and the only reason to add a teacher would be that you left them off the roster originally, or they have been teaching all year, but they just received their active permit number or their active license number. If you need to remove someone, put their information, select remove, and then one of those reasons, why are they being removed? If you need to update information, let's say you checked your roster and you realized you gave someone the wrong TLN on the roster, or that you notice when you check your directory that their email is not correct. Maybe there was a typo in your original roster and their email needs to be corrected so they can log in. Maybe that's why they haven't activated. So you would click update and let us know, why are we updating? Do we need to fix their spelling of their name, their email, or correct their TLN? Once you have filled out your add and remove template, save it to your desktop, and then email it to us at portfolio.questions. Here's a list of the reasons to add. As I said, there's only 2 reasons to add a teacher. One would be that you left them off your original roster. They have been there all year. They have given their point A's. They just were left off. So you want to make sure that you add them now. And the second reason could be that they were there. They have been at your school all year, but they just received their active permit waiver or their license number. And then these reasons to remove are the ones that we just talked about, the exemptions for a teacher, PYE. We will not remove them unless they are PYE, NT, and Compass. So make sure that the principal, the evaluation configurators, whoever marks PYE for your district or charter, that they have been marked PYE before you submit your add and remove template. So your next steps. Once everything in your roster report and your user directory is correct, then you will complete your roster verification form. This is a FormStat link where you will go in and you will verify that everything in the platform is correct. All of your teachers are there, they're all in your directory, and your report is correct. Then you verify and submit the verification. As I said, the verification form is due by February the 9th. That gives us a week if you happen to be someone who submits on the deadline of February the 2nd. It gives you a week to go back and make sure all the information is correct. At our next office hour in February, we will go through how to read your reports and monitor your teachers' their progress, and we'll also talk about peer reviewer applications. We'll begin looking at, because everyone would have been verified, we'll begin hiring peer reviewers during the month of April. So we need to start getting applications in during February and March. So we'll talk to you first and let you know what those expectations are. If you have questions, please email us at portfolio.questions and we will answer them as quickly as we can.
We have one question in the chat. How many days does a teacher have to teach in order to submit a portfolio? Or how many days would a teacher be on leave to qualify for PYE? We have a couple of teachers on maternity leave, and I need to know which ones will submit a portfolio.
Okay, great question. All teachers that are licensed in that grade level for the model that your district or charter chose are required to have evaluations. So that includes teacher observations, achievement scores, and growth scores. The portfolio is their growth score, their 35%. So unless they are PYE, they are required to submit a portfolio. In the case of, as you were asking, what would qualify someone for PYE? On the statute and policy tab on the team website, it goes into greater detail, but in this slide, I have linked the PYE policy. If a teacher is out and does not meet, for example, if they're on maternity leave and they are out where they are not in the classroom for those 120 days, so a typical school year, that would be 3 months, because a typical school year is 180 days. So if a teacher is out for 3 months, they would most likely qualify for PYE.
In TN Compass this year, I did not see portfolio as an option to choose as a growth or achievement measure.
That is right, because it is not a growth or achievement measure selection. Achievement is off the shelf for most of our pre-KK. For our fine arts, world language, the achievement measures would be the most comparable. It is a proficiency. The portfolio is an individual growth measure. In T Encompass, when you make growth measure selections for tested teachers, so portfolio teachers are tested teachers, that growth measure selection in T Encompass is the default. It is a school-wide composite. Teachers don't receive that growth measure unless they're non-tested. So a portfolio teacher, although you make a selection for all of your teachers in that growth measure selection, they don't receive that score, nor do your TCAP teachers receive that school-wide score. That school-wide growth score is a default for if something happens and an individual tested teacher doesn't get their individual growth score. If you will go to the team website and click on the growth tab, there is a document that about growth measure selections, and it has the 6 types. And then under those 6 types, it will explain what I just stated, that all teachers get a growth measure selection in T Encompass, but tested teachers do not receive that score. So that's why it's not in there. Individual growth scores are not a selection for a school-wide composite.
Kathy Nestor for Sullivan is not receiving the emails. And so we can add you to the email list, Kathy Nestor.
And Kathy, if you are not, also, would you email me? Because the reason you're not, it would be your district did not choose you in T Encompass in the LEA context as the portfolio lead. So we need to make sure that Sullivan County's superintendent designee goes in and calls you the portfolio lead. And I will do a quick check. I think I have those pulled up. But that is why, if you're not receiving emails, it is because we don't have your contact information. So Kathy, does that also mean, I'm assuming that you are not in portfolio? And I'll do a quick check.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I am in portfolio. This is my 3rd school year doing this job, and I'm just learning as I go, because this is on top of a whole lot of other jobs. But yes, I'm in, and I can go in and I can look. And
Kathy, you are not in for 23-24.
Okay.
They have Ingrid Deloach.
Yeah. Okay. She's my HR supervisor, so she's the one that sets all that. So I need to go to her and have her tell me what that's called one more time.
In T Encompass, the LEA contacts. And if you would just email me or email portfolio questions and let us know, because I do remember your name many years past. But this year currently, the district, Sullivan County, they named Ingrid as the portfolio lead, and that she's the one who has the access. But we can get it to you. All I need is for them to put you in T Encompass as a portfolio lead.
Okay, thank you.
But that's why when you go into portfolio now, most likely all you see is 22-23. You may be able to see 21-22. I think you've been in there for a while, but you don't have 23-24 access.
So I have a question. Should I just put it in the chat? I don't want to take everybody's time.
Yes, ma'am. Put it in the chat and Micah will read it.
Okay, thank you.
That way we can keep track of the questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it okay if a teacher is not currently marked PYE and T Encompass, but marked PYE later stays in the system? Or do we need to have them removed? They will possibly qualify for PYE after February 9th.
I'll answer that in 2 parts. First, they are never removed. So do not take them out of T Encompass. If they end up qualifying for PYE, when that happens, then you or the principal someone at the district office can mark them PYE, and none of their evaluation components will count for an LOE.
So even if they stay on Portfolium and we submit an incomplete because they didn't complete it, then it still won't matter because they'll be marked PYE in T-Encompass.
That's right. If someone is PYE, and my guess is this person is asking what if they are waiting till the very end of the school year to see if they come back or whatever it could be. The answer is yes. When they are marked PYE, none of their scores count. Everything in their evaluation is null, and they will receive no LOE.
Someone wants to know where to access the add remove template
Mm-hmm.
and how to access the verification form.
Great. There's several places. The first place that you can access right now is if you go to the team website and click on Student Growth Portfolios. Down in the resources, there is a link, and I believe it is, let me look really quickly. In resources, it is the 4th bullet. It says Portfolio Teacher Roster Verification Guidance. If you click on that guidance, it will have the add remove template, and it will also have the link to the form stack. If you would like to take care of that before I get this PowerPoint will be live as soon as I can get it back from comms, and you can also access it from this PowerPoint. But right now you can access it on the team website.
We have updated Ann Haley for Rutherford County for the lead who took Jamie Hubbard's place.
Yes, we have anyone that was submitted over the last month, they will be uploaded. So Rutherford County's portfolio lead, I believe I've got 3 district administrators that will be uploaded this Friday. So they will receive access at the end of the day, Friday, Monday morning. And I will say, I just thought the person who asked about the PYE, I want to be clear, we cannot add teachers after February the 2nd, because by February the 2nd, you should know who has been teaching all year and who just got left off. So we won't add anybody to your roster after February 2nd. But if someone goes PYE in March or April, we can remove people. The remove deadline, it can happen if one of those events that cause a person to be PYE, if we get notified, we can remove them, but we will not add after February 2nd. If that helps the person who was asking about if they become PYE in March or April, I can take them out so that they don't get an incomplete.
And Kathy, you are correct. You are looking at an old roster because you aren't able to see this year yet because we've not uploaded you. So once this Friday, once we get your information, we can add you as the district admin into the Portfolium platform for this year. Then you'll be able to see the updated roster for this year.
Yeah, Kathy, if you can get your district to put you in today, tomorrow morning at the latest, you can go in the upload for tomorrow's. We upload on Fridays.
I believe that's all the questions in chat. If you have any other questions, feel free to come off of mute.
Hi, Tracy. How are you?
Hi, Matthew.
Good to see you. This is kind of a rare situation, but we had a teacher that's on our portfolio list. That teacher is no longer teaching traditional PE, and so any of the skill sets or skills are not on the potential skills for the portfolio. Do I need to remove her from portfolio? Does my HR need to change her growth model? What does that look like?
The PE portfolio model is K8 standards. So, and I don't want to assume, so I'm just going to be broad, and you can email me to the site if I'm not answering your question. But if that teacher is no longer teaching the K-8, one of the K-8 PE standards, are not, like you said, a traditional PE teacher in K-8, then you can send us the remove, because they are no longer teaching that grade. Like they're not teaching that where it said the reasons to be exempt, they have switched content areas.
Correct.
So if when you rostered them, they were in that content PE K-8, and now this semester they're not, that would be the reason. I believe it says no longer teaching switch grade or content is what it says for the reason. So you fill out that add remove with that teacher's information, remove, reason, switch grade levels or content.
Thank you so much. Sorry to bog up the chat.
No, that's, I'm sure someone else, I think all questions are good questions. Someone else might need that for later.
Well, I appreciate you, Tracy.
Yes. Was there another question, Micah?
Sorry, I apologize. My teams just decided to stop in the middle of my question. There was a question about the recording. I don't know if you answered that, but the recording will be posted under office hours as soon as we get it back from comms, but I'll post the PDF of the presentation today under the office hours.
Yeah. Sometimes we get those back the same day. Sometimes it takes a day or two, but Micah does a great job getting that team website updated as fast as she can.
And Stacia Lewis, if you click on the tab Student Growth Portfolios and scroll down to Resources, you should see the roster verification guidance link.
It's the fourth bullet.
So, but you'll have to click on the tab. Don't click on any of the drop downs from the tab. You'll click on the actual tab.
It is also on the homepage under recently released.
Cassandra Schuler, the universal screener for their growth measure or versus portfolio is chosen by the district. It's not chosen individually by teachers.
Sorry, I chose that for some of our teachers, and I received the document that lists a bunch of teachers on it, and I need to do corrections. I was wondering when that session or that team meeting presentation was
Got you.
to
That's
attend
at
and ask
2 o'clock.
questions.
It's at 2:00. As soon as this one is over, we're going to
Yes,
talk to
great.
the AGM leads
Thank you.
about, yes, ma'am.
Also, I noticed that the admin is listed on the teacher page. Is this okay?
Yes, I said at the beginning that all of the district administrators, you have access as a teacher. You will be removed as we get closer to the deadline. I typically do that mid-April. So right now you will see yourself, district administrators or any other district administrators in your district. You will see it says system-wide. You don't have a TLN beside your name in the user directory. You just have teacher access. You will come off your user directory. Like I said, I will take your access away in April unless you are an actual portfolio teacher. There are some district leads in some of our smaller districts that are also teachers. So if you are a teacher, we will leave you in there. But otherwise, right now, you will see the district administrators in your teacher directory. And don't worry about that. I'm going to take you out. So you don't have to submit yourself as a remove.
Tracy,
Yes, ma'am.
if we don't have any changes, do we send anything?
Great question. If everything is correct, then you can go ahead and click on the roster verification link. It's a FormStat link that says everything is correct, and you sign it and you are done.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you. And you don't have to wait till February 9th. If you know now that everything is correct, go ahead and you can verify your roster. Please don't verify your roster if you're going to submit an ad. because then it wouldn't actually be correct. And then if we add somebody, your numbers will be off. So if you're going to remove someone, like I said, if somebody becomes PYE after the February 9th deadline, that might be a scenario. But your ad, you should have all of your ads in and everything as clean as possible before you verify and submit your verification form.
Do they need to be marked PYE and T Encompass before someone can be removed?
Yes. If they're not PYE, we cannot remove them for that reason. So we check T Encompass first.
I am placing the link to the page where you can find the portfolio teacher roster verification links.
Just want to remind you that all of your teachers should have completed their Point A assessments. They should all know what standards they are assessing for their portfolio this year for at this point in January. So again, even if they're not ready to upload their work, your teachers should all have activated. It is very unfortunate when it's close to the deadline. We have had scenarios in May when it's time to submit, and that's when teachers figure out that they couldn't get in, that their email was wrong, or they couldn't activate. And that is a very stressful time for teachers and you. So anyone who has not activated, who has not set up their models, made their collections, selected their standards, please work with them and check on your teachers. Again, they don't have to upload. I don't recommend they upload anything until they know for sure who their students are that they're going to submit, but they do need to have their collections chosen and their standards chosen by this time. At our February office hour, I will show you in the reports on how you can monitor that so you can know what collections they chose and what standards they chose.
If we remove with the reason special education teacher, do they still need to be PYE and T Encompass?
No, that's a separate reason. If someone is a self-contained SPED teacher and you accidentally rostered them originally, then that they were exempt and they shouldn't have been rostered. They were special ed. It doesn't mean PYE is just one removal reason. The other reasons could be they're full-time SPED teachers or they switch grades. It could be that's probably the two main reasons, but it doesn't necessarily, they don't have to be PYE to be removed. If they were an exempt, that maybe they were a tested teacher, like I said, they already receive a TCAP score. If you think of any other questions, please send those to us at portfolio.questions. We want to assist you. We want teachers to get the best possible scores that they can and to get access so they can begin their work on their portfolios as soon as they're ready.
There was a deadline date for removing question. Is there a deadline date?
Yes and no. There is a deadline to add. The last day to add is February 2nd. We have asked that you complete your verification by February the 9th. But if there is a surprise and someone, the only scenario I can think of is if someone happened to become PYE after February 9th, then I will work with you and I can take them out. But keep in mind, they won't, it won't hurt a teacher because PYE teachers don't get their scores anyway. But as a teacher, I would not want to have an incomplete if I was PYE. So we do want to take them out of the platform. And we also don't want to count on them when we are hiring peer reviewers.
Yeah,
So,
and also if a teacher is not PYE and they're mistakenly on your roster, then they will receive an incomplete if you don't remove them by the time the scoring closes or the portfolios close. So make sure that if they're not supposed to be on your roster, we know as soon as possible so that we can remove them so that they don't get an incomplete reported to T Encompass when they're not supposed to have that score at all.
good point, Micah. Okay, well, if there are no other questions, we will give you the last 15 minutes. And if some of you are also an AGM lead, we will be meeting with AGM leads at 2 o'clock. Thank you. Micah, did you turn my recording off for me?